All right. So it says I'm live. I'm gonna take its word for it. I'm probably live now. So, welcome. Not sure who managed to make it here. Those of you who did make it here, glad you're here. So, been an interesting few days. Don't know how many of you have heard or saw what I wrote. So yeah, it's getting to the point where it is affecting me personally. My sister-in-law checked into the hospital yesterday. Her name's Kalima. So when I talk about Kalima, you know who I'm talking about. And she had had a fever and headache for a few days. She wasn't didn't go to the doctor. Didn't get tested because she figured she'd get tested when she felt better, and just kind of confirmed that that's what happened. And I mean, this is the kind of thing that we think, oh yeah, no, when I get better, when I get better this, when I get better that. And definitely a good way to be thinking positively. However, it didn't turn out that was when she got her confirmation. Instead, day before yesterday, I guess, or yesterday, she started having enough trouble breathing that she checked herself into the hospital. She spent last night in the hospital. She hasn't been able to sleep for days because of like the kind of achiness and that kind of thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that go along with the go along with coronavirus and coronavirus versus flu. I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit, just so that you don't so that you know. Um, anyway, she's checked in. It's been confirmed as of this morning that she does have COVID-19, and that she also has is exhibiting symptoms of pneumonia. Now, this is in fact not uncommon. Usually, when you have one, you've got the other. Usually, they go hand in hand, as my friend said. So, it's not like, but still, it's pretty bad because pneumonia is one of the functions by which COVID gets ugly. But it shouldn't be too bad. All right, then. But let's take kind of a stock of the situation as it stands right now. So we have a total of about almost 7.4 million cases. A little over that. Getting close to 7.5 million. That's a heck of a milestone. We've reached 209,000 deaths. And since we went up by 708 yesterday, that was a lot, actually. Then we will probably reach over 210,000. Today's Sunday, probably Tuesday. So probably by Tuesday. New cases, you can see new cases in the United States actually look a little bit like they've been going down. I'm actually going to get a little bit more personal here and click on Florida. Okay, you can kind of see what's been going on here. Up, down, up, down, up. So, yeah, it's not great. Okay. Then we have, let's see, it's broken down by county there. It doesn't really help there. Okay. Let's actually go back to the United States real quick here. Let's see, new cases for the United States. New cases for the United States has gone down. We had that kind of surge that we have as all the cases, people who got tested on Friday come in, gone back down a little bit. 47,000 new cases yesterday. And I guess my sister-in-law was one of those reported at that point in time. Okay, so that's the state of things as they are right now. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about what you do when something like this happens. Again, okay, so the first thing first thing to remember is that there are stages to this. And right now, Kalima is at a stage where she's not going to, where it's not going to be getting worse rapidly. She's at a stage where she should, you know, maintain and hopefully get better. Sometimes people, their immune response kind of overreacts and goes against them, but that usually doesn't happen until you've really been fighting it for a while, and you haven't gotten through it. So Kalima is doing okay. She's not on a ventilator at this point, obviously. I mean, thank God. I don't even believe she's on oxygen. I think she is on oxygen. But yeah, she's that's just kind of making certain that she's okay. And on that level, I think the thing that I'm trying to say here is that being sent to the hospital in this scenario is yes, a little bit frightening, but at the same time, it is the best place for a loved one to be in this scenario. If there's something wrong with them, then absolutely they need to go in and get that kind of help. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna kind of go off course here a little bit. Let's go with platelet antibody treatment COVID. Okay. So, normally I do not consider this to be a very... Alright. Wow. Oof. Oh my goodness, the sources at the very top here are not great ones. Okay. Okay, so... COVID survivor, blood transfusions, a safe treatment. It's WebMD. I'm not a huge fan of WebMD most of the time, but this is not necessarily a bad... probably not going to be a bad site at this point. Okay, wow, they have got a lot of trackers on that site, don't they? Okay. WebMD, thank you. Okay, so this is June 24th, Health Day News. Blood plasma transfusions from people who have developed antibodies to coronavirus appear to be safe for many COVID-19 patients, a large study suggests. The experimental treatment, called convalescent plasma therapy, is popular because no drug has been approved specifically to treat coronavirus infection. So, 1 week after 20,000 COVID-19 patients deemed at risk for progressing to a severe or life-threatening condition received plasma therapy, the risk of deaths dropped to 9% compared to 12% in a previous study. Mayo Clinic researchers reported. Fewer than 1% had serious side effects. So, here's the thing. It does help. It increases basically by 1/4. You've got 1/4 better chance of surviving if you can get this. So, I mean, I know the numbers are kind of weird when you look at them that way. It doesn't seem like, 4% is a big bump, but, overall, considering the situation, it's pretty good. It's a very broad study, including men and women, Black, Hispanic, Asian, as well as white folks. Let's see. We're optimistic. Remain objective. So, in case you don't know, plasma is a liquid part of the blood. It contains both red and white blood cells, as well as the colorless platelets, I can speak tonight, that the body deploys to clot and stem bleeding from wounds or cuts. It's also where the antibodies are floating in the liquid. So, what this means is that you can do what they're referring to here as convalescent plasma therapy if there is a donor. Now, what you need for a donor is you need somebody who has developed antibodies. You need a person who has developed antibodies to the coronavirus. And what that means is that if there is somebody who has caught coronavirus and gotten better from it, or even just been an asymptomatic and yada yada yada, and they have the antibodies, then they can donate blood to a person who needs it. So this is one of the things that I kind of want to get into here, is that so this is what happened. I have a friend who has a friend, you know how it goes, who works at the local ER. And as much as I'll be brutally honest with you, I am not a huge fan overall of the way the local hospital is run in my relatively small town. But it's my understanding that their COVID ward is actually quite good. A few reasons for that, not the least of which this is a tourist town, and so probably it's better to keep the people who are coming from out of town here than move them to another hospital. So, all right. So, anyway, friend of a friend also pointed out that this therapy is available. However, we are in a situation where just getting these antibodies and that kind of thing, this is not, you can't just, call up, hey, I got, anybody, I need some of this and get some through the network or something. There isn't a network for this. It just is what it is. So what you can do, and this is really kind of what I'm getting to with some of this whole, what can you do to help, is if you know someone, if you are someone who has probably developed antibodies to coronavirus, if you've been infected and gotten better, however it may be, then you may be able to donate platelets that can improve a person's chances by 1/4 when they're at the point where my sister-in-law is at right now. So, that being the case, my sister-in-law actually has a cousin who lives down south of here, who had it a couple weeks ago and has recovered, and the cousin is coming up to help take care of Kalima and do that. Now, I'll be honest with you, I this morning, I do not know. I've been asking, but I haven't been able to get the information about what Kalima's blood type is, what the cousin's blood type is. I don't know. I do not know if this is something that is something reasonable. One of the reasons why I want to find out about this is that A, time is important, and B, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I have a sneaking suspicion. I could be wrong. I think there's a lot of us who have the sneaking suspicion that I've caught the coronavirus, that I've had the coronavirus, and that I've had an asymptomatic case of it. And if that's the situation, then also Celeste has too, or at least a very low symptom case of it. I kind of suspect that that has already happened, and that Celeste and I may have the antibodies. So what I would like to do is, if Kalima's cousin is not compatible blood type, because they're cousins. It's not like the Donna Reed show where they're going to be identical cousins, and they're going to have the same blood type. So it's a good question. So if they do not have the same blood type, then I am definitely going to be getting myself tested to see if I have got the coronavirus antibodies, and B, I've got to look up. I'm pretty sure I know what my blood type is, but I'm going to double check it and see whether or not it's compatible with Kalima's. Okay, so on that note, actually, let me pull that up real quick. It was the thing that I was looking at earlier today. And, this is something which most of you probably know, you may or may not know. This is something which I did not know. Okay, so let me see if I can at least stay in frame while I'm typing in here. Okay, so we are looking at blood type compatibility chart. There we go. Oh, that's a tiny little picture. Do we have a bigger picture? There we go. That'll work. Oh my god, it's a stock photo. That is so funny. Alright, screw it. We're going to just do a stock photo. Alright, so now you may have heard that O negative, and that is the column on the far left here, you may have heard that O negative is the universal donor, and that's absolutely awesome. Also, side note, O negative are people who are less likely to experience severe symptoms of coronavirus. But then you'll notice that on the top column, okay, because the columns, or excuse me, the rows are receivers, the columns are donors. So on the top row, we have AB negative, and it's all filled in, and that is universal receiver. So if Kalima is universal receiver, or if her cousin is universal donor, then it's going to be fine. Otherwise, we're hoping for a match. That's these, ones that go diagonally from the upper right to the bottom left. Or ones where it's like, okay, that's going to work for whatever reason. Certain blood types are not real compatible with with other ones. We're really hoping that Kalima is not an A minus. That would be bad. So I believe my blood type is AB positive, which means that if I need to receive blood, great. But it also means that as a blood donor, I'm really fairly limited as far as what I can actually give. So unfortunately, one of the reasons why I'm not one of those people who's going out selling blood all the time. I've done it on a couple of occasions, mostly out of goodwill. But yeah. So that's one of the things. So in case you're wondering, that is theoretically should be a way for mapping out who's going to be able to help who. So that is one thing that you can do in this particular scenario to help out a loved one. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about. Let's actually just go over some of the stuff in the COVID support subreddit. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm kind of wiped out. I don't. Dealing with all of this has been pretty rough. So, I'm going to. Let's see. We've got 2 hours ago. I'm not going to read anything that says trigger warning online here. Thank you very much. No. We've got still afraid of going grocery shopping even with a mask on and social distancing. It's 11 hours ago. Oh, show that. Stepfather went grocery shopping, said I could have gone there myself. I have a mask on. Okay, so just asking for, can anyone help me get through this fear that I have of going to stores? There's a lot of kind of just stuff in there. Okay, I found the number of grocery stores offer pickup. That's one good way of dealing with it. And this is good. All right, start now. Go places where you're comfortable. Okay, go to places where, and this is a good point. If you live, or if you can drive, if you need to do whatever, if you need to go to a place where people are wearing masks, then go to a place where people are wearing masks. There's a lot of places where people are not wearing masks. When in doubt, go to the poor section of town. They are masking up because they can't afford to get sick. This is absolutely true. And I found this to be true, especially in the last month in the black communities around here, in that they are masking up a little bit more than other folks. So, but it just kind of depends. Just keep your eyes open. I mean, when this is the other thing. If you're not sure, just go through the go sit in the parking lot and see who's wandering in without a mask at all. Now keep in mind that a lot of people put masks in just as they're going in, but you will at least have some idea. Okay, avoid crowded aisles. be honest with you, Walmart, at least around here, has been better than a lot of places, just because they're better at enforcing the mask order than a lot of places. Right now, Walmart's kind of the Waffle House on that level, and that they're used to people being stupid, so they deal with it. Okay. Let's see. Is there anybody in the chat? I'd really like to talk to somebody in the chat. Give me something else to focus on. Okay. All right. Malfunctioning septic system risk. The septic system of our apartment is having issues. Smelled bad. Had a bathtub fill up. Oh, lovely. Okay. Houston, Texas. Okay, so this is pretty gross. This is pretty gross. Their sewage backed up, and everything is kind of going everywhere right now. The short answer on this one is, if you can, definitely stay clean. But keep in mind that this is a case. Okay, so I was listening to Dr. Fauci today, just probably a little over an hour ago, maybe even less, talking about methods of transmission. Now, we've been talking about fomates a lot. Now, those of you who don't know, now fomates, fomates sounds like what you get when you've got rabies. You got fomates at the mouth, No, fomates are simply methods of transmission. They are objects which you can leave droplets on, or leave, aerosol, very light aerosol on, and it can make people sick. So it could be anything from this bottle cap to a little USB thing, you name it. It could all of these things are things that could be fomates. That actually was something they were talking about an awful lot in the early days, less so now. Of more concern is droplets and aerosol, and when we say aerosol, keep in mind that we don't mean like it's always in the air. We just mean that really what I think they're trying to say when they're saying aerosol is droplets finer than usual droplets are ones. So 6 feet's good. I kind of like to have a little bit more space. I tend to insist on a little bit more when I'm working. And that's nice. But again, even with that, I as I say, I think I've been infected myself. But nevertheless, it's best to just get yourself checked. Okay. Feeling kind of wanted to stock up on masks before the winter. Is anyone else doing this? This seems like a smart thing to do. Why'd you feel dumb for that? That seems like what you'd want to do. 3 packs of 50. Okay, you're using the disposable ones. I use the washable ones. Yeah, seriously, why not get masks? Good, get masks. Good idea. I don't see why not. Somebody's been washing their hands too much? Is this starting to turn into... Okay, so this is just kind of, getting too stressed out about things. No reason to catastrophize things. Not really washing your hands too much. Let's see which one's got a lot of upvotes. How do I ask my boyfriend to get tested without coming off as controlling? That sounds like a relationship advice question about the COVID-19 support, but good luck. Are people going to wait years to take a vaccine if they're hesitant? Okay, I want to repeat this again, okay? Herd immunity is used in a really bad way right now because we talk about, oh, once enough people get sick and they naturally get the immunity, we'll have herd immunity and we don't need a vaccine. Okay, vaccines also can be a thing that give us herd immunity, and that is why anti-vaxxers are really just kind of a blip on the radar, is because you can have a non-vaccinated kid inside a group of vaccinated kids, and the herd immunity will keep that non-vaccinated kid safe. By the same token, that's what we will have here. If we have enough people on this, then it's if we have enough people taking the vaccine, then it will help. Okay. Let's see if anybody's piped up here. Nope. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go over to this one right here. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is things to do. Okay, distraction. Distraction is something that, anybody can use right now, but let's actually focus on more useful. So planning practice. We're talking about this last time. What I want to look at is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to do this right now. Okay. Seems like a good thing to do. We're going to do a bit of breathing practice. I don't know if you can tell since you tuned in. I'm kind of messed up right now. Kind of a long day at work. Had to run around and do a bunch of stuff right before I got started on this, and I'm just, you can probably tell I'm kind of not all that focused. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's hard to focus right now. I've got monkey mind worrying about klima. Okay, but doing a daily breathing practice. Okay, so these are all the things that can happen when you've got that. You've got tightness of shortness of breath, chest tightness, all sorts of things. Some of these are things that honestly Kalima's having right now. She's having shortness of breath. She's having fatigue. She's having headaches. But here's the thing: it's not it's not bad breathing and auto stress that's causing that. She actually has COVID. So, take a moment to test your breathing. I did this before, but it's a good plan. Put one hand on your chest, one on your belly. Yeah, I think I'm breathing to my chest too much. Okay, so inhale gently, lightly and slowly on a 4 count. Expand the belly as you do so. You hold the breath for a count of 2, and then you slowly exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. So 4, 2, 6. All right. Okay, so I'm going to say this. You probably saw that counting it out didn't help as much as just feeling the breathing as it needs to go. So, if you can do that. Okay, so this is probably the thing that I want to talk about the most right now. I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons why I want to talk about this is because I feel like Kalima is one of those people who has not had a whole lot of social interaction, a lot in her life, and she does a certain amount. And I'm not saying that she should change, but I am saying that if you're one of those people who doesn't have a whole lot of social interaction, remember that having social interaction is good for your mental and physical well-being, and it's a good part of just having a general support network in all the isolation that we've got. So, all right, so using online support resources, page 7 of the Social Collective Connection Planner. Oh, hey, look what I have here, the Social Connection Planner. All right, so let's look at page 7 of the Social Connection Planner. Okay, now noticing again, a lot of these are UK. The first thing they say is go on Reddit. Oh, that is funny. There's a subreddit for everything. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'm actually going to say this again. Okay, and then here's a bunch of subreddits for mental health, PTSD, stress anxiety, social anxiety, yada, yada, yada. Okay. There's a good chance that either you know somebody who uses Reddit a lot or you use Reddit a fair amount. And so, on that note, what I would recommend for this is be aware that most you can create multi-Reddits where you put together only Reddits of things that you find pleasant and happy and things that are going to make life work for you. I have multi-Reddits of things like, DIY project stuff. I have one that is news. Okay, the reason why I have one that is news is because I actually filter out most of the news ones on my main front page. You can filter your main page too. I find that there's just an awful lot of negative stuff that'll pop up, and I don't want to see actual public freakouts yet again, and things like this. So I filter them out. I don't, Sanvelo app. Stress, anxiety, and depression can get in the way of living your life. Sanvelo gives you psychologist-designed tools to address them based on cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness, meditation, relaxation, and mood health tracking. Share stories, advice, and more with the peer support community. Okay, I do not know if that is a free or a paid app. That sounds like a paid app to me. Calm web chat is for people in the UK, so no. Peanut is an app for mothers. Again, a lot of these are kind of UK. Mumsnet sounds very UK. Alright, so maybe not all these are quite right. Here's some Reddit stuff and that kind of thing. So never hurts. Okay. Explore improving your communication skills using pages 12 through 14 of the Social Connection Planner. Okay, guys, you know what? Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going, guys. Okay. So pages 12 through 14 of the Social Connection Planner. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm just kind of... Doesn't hurt to go through this, right? Okay, so 12 through 14 on this. This is ways of improving communication skills. Oh, wow. Okay. This looks pretty intense. This looks like a whole a whole workshop, a whole, multi-week workshop in about 3 pages of a chart. Okay. Poor communication habits, partial listening, splitting your attention between multiple things besides the speaker, such as being distracted by a digital device, your thoughts, or by a task you're doing. Generally don't do this. Do this some. Try not to do this. Try to be a mindful listener. It helps. Why are we talking about this? Oh, because these are ways of improving. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that look at these. Look at these individual things and see if any of these are ones that you do. And if you do, see if there's a way to do them differently. Mind reading. Assuming you know exactly what the other person is feeling or thinking without asking them directly. I tend to do this a fair amount. I'm often correct, but not as often as I think I am. Asking for clarifying and probing questions to find out if your interpretations are correct. I noticed you changed the subject pretty quickly. Could you tell me what you're thinking? It's a better way to ask it anyway, even if you're mind reading. Hijacking. Redirecting the conversation to focus on yourself instead of allowing the other person to fully express themselves. Be mindful of talking about yourself a lot and showing limited interest in others. Oh yeah, I'm having trouble with my boss as well at the moment too. Yes, sometimes. Probing, that's the other one. That's where you actually just are going deeper into what the other person's saying. You're asking them about what happened. You're having trouble with your boss. How come? Judging, evaluating what the other person is saying rather than mindfully listening to them. Labeling someone as selfish. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. And just being non-judgmental, holding it. When you catch yourself doing that, let it go. Teaching or preaching. Offering solutions rather than listening and seeking to understand the other person, giving unsolicited advice. Hey, isn't that what I'm doing all evening on this live stream? Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm asking for permission. And I focus on mindful listening. I'll be honest with you. This is a hard thing to do. I mean, even when you're experienced in it, it's hard to go, okay, not just going to fix mode and to listen and then offer solutions and that kind of thing if once the person has fully said what they... I mean, a lot of it is you just need to let them say what they need to say. Sometimes a person just needs to be heard rather than feel like, you're not even going to listen to their whole problem before you try and fix it. So demanding, making demands instead of respectfully asking for your want to get your room cleaned now, as opposed to making specific requests. Now, this is the other thing. Also, you can give a specific reason for why you've got the ask. Here we've got, I'm feeling very frustrated about this. Would you be willing to clean your room now, please? Discounting, giving the message that the other person's feelings and opinions don't matter. That's not true. I never take you for granted. Validating, communicating in a way that shows that you're taking the other person's feelings and needs into account. It's understandable that you feel like that considering the situation that you're in. I'll be honest with you, all of us, we do some of these to a certain extent. Maybe a better way sometimes to figure out if it's something you need to work on is, are you doing the opposite a fair amount? I know that I do discount people some, but I know that I make an active effort to validate people, so hopefully. Belittling, giving the message the other person should feel foolish for having a particular need or opinion. Wow, I can't believe you actually think that. Supporting, demonstrating acceptance, warmth, and care to the other person. So, I'd be very... actually, you got to ask it the right way. I mean, if I ask it, so I'd be curious to know how you came to that opinion, I sound belittling. If I say, okay, you'd be interested more to know how you have that opinion, what brought you there, that's supporting. And sometimes it is literally, like, the difference between the two is literally the words and the tone of voice that you use. Okay, there's guilt tripping. Giving the person is behaving immorally is in the wrong for having certain needs. If you don't trust me, what's the point? It tells me there's something very wrong with our relationship. repeating, or as opposed to summarizing, repeating what you've heard back to the speaker in a way to ensure you've understood them properly. So guilt tripping in this case is also one of those things where you are either intentionally or unintentionally taking what the person says in a way that is worse than what it is. That's kind of like hijacking, mind reading, I don't know. Anyway. Placating, agreeing with someone without really listening and providing the opportunity for them to fully express yourselves. I know, you're right, it won't happen again, okay? Reflecting, repeating someone's words back to them to exactly demonstrate that you're listening and so they can move the conversation forward. To be honest, I was really disappointed that you forgot about it. You were disappointed that I forgot. Yes, I was counting on you on having you there with me. So it's just a real conversation. Okay, so that's good. Definitely. All right, so then look at the ones. So go over the ones that you do well, effective communication habits. Go over the ones that you do poorly, and then take the ones that are in this column from this group, in this first group here, or this poor communication habits group, and then look at what's in the right column in that one and put it in this group. You get the idea what would be a better thing to do. So let's see. So those are all really helpful things to be doing when you're trying to get your friends. So let's talk about all this. Let's talk about the context of this. This is about building your support network. This is about, building your friends list. And I don't mean build your friends list so that you've got, 10 million friends on Facebook, we all know what a million friends on Facebook is worth, right? This is about making it so that the people that you are in contact with, one way or the other, whatever, be it electronically, in person, phone, whatever, that when you are in contact with those people, that it is a quality friendship, that it is one of those things where they want to, both of you want to talk to each other again. You're helping each other. You're growing. So that's really a lot of this. That's why we're still trying. Talk to volunteer listeners on a helpline. All right, let's check this one out. They've got 5 pages from 20 to 26 of this. More than anything else, people need to be able to feel safe with other people. Being able to feel safe with other people defines mental health. Safe connections are fundamental to meaningful and satisfying lives. That's cool. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Okay, helplines. There's a shit ton in the United Kingdom. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's a whole bunch in the United States. Okay. Wow. So you can text. That's actually nice. I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of times where texting with someone in this situation feels a lot less, feels a lot less like there's a lot less on the line. On the other hand, people can thoroughly misunderstand texts, so who knows. Lifeline, Depression Hotline, Suicide Hotline, Trevor Project, I believe that is for gay teens who are being bullied, but I think there's more to it than that. Sexuality Support, Trans Lifeline, Eating Disorders Hotline, Rape and Sexual Assault, Grief Support, Runaway, well, there's 3 runaway lines, good. After Abortion Hotline, Pro Voice, Self-Harm, Pregnancy Hotline, Gay, Lesbian, and Bisexual and Transgender Youth Support Line. Oh, that's cool. National Association for Children of Alcoholics, National Child Abuse Hotline, National Domestic Violence Hotline, National Drug Abuse Hotline, National Youth Crisis Hotline, Eating Disorders and Awareness Prevention, Veterans, Adolescent Suicide Helpline, good. And postpartum depression. And that's the United States. If you're looking for some of the resources for some of the other... Oh, let's actually just go over Canada real quick. Helplines for different parts of the country. There is a kids phone helpline, a mental health helpline for Ontario. So yeah, it looks like Canada's mostly only got a few of them, and they're sort of regional. If you look at crisiscenterbc.ca, you should find a whole bunch of resources there. Canadians. All right. Use this time as an opportunity. Complete the relationship inventory exercise. I don't really think I want to go through this right now. This sounds stressful. In what ways did I contribute to the breakdown of a relationship? In what ways did the other person contribute to the breakdown of a relationship? Now, this sounds a little bit like... This sounds like after things have gotten messy, how you put things back together, or how you deal with how you deal with the fact that everything's fallen apart. On the other hand, this is one. And if you can ask these questions before things fall apart, that's really helpful. Did my story distortions or attachment style influence me to enter this relationship? Could I have communicated more effectively? Did I leave the relationship to protect myself from being hurt? Did I focus too much on the other person's perceived flaws? Did I have unrealistic expectations of how relationships should be? Could I have managed my challenging feelings such as fear, jealousy, and anger better? Was any of my behavior unacceptable? Okay. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes are a good time to deal with that, sometimes not. Use video chat catch-ups with friends you haven't spoken to in a while. Absolutely true. Use a video chat app House Party for games, trivia. Another good one. There's all sorts of ways. Also, for those of you nerds out there, there's a bunch of ways that you can play board games online, as well as D&D online with people. Have a virtual happy hour or video chat. Browse Meetup for events that have been transferred online. Organize a weekly lunch date with a friend over video chat. That's actually a very good idea. I'd recommend that highly. I think that should be higher up on the list. Use Netflix Party to extension to watch Netflix with your friends online. Not just Netflix. I'm pretty sure Hulu, Amazon, most of them now all have a thing where you can sync up what you're watching with someone else, and you can chat, all that kind of thing. Send letters to your loved ones with a service like Postable. And play Scrabble and chat to friends using Words with Friends. So there's a bunch of things that you can do. Okay. It's getting into developing an exercise routine and such. Alright. So, I want to thank everyone who's here with me now. I'm gonna talk for a little bit longer. I'm going to switch over to, so that I can actively see anybody who's typing in the chat window, if anybody comes and types in the chat window. I'm only going to make tonight's stream an hour, unless anybody really has anything to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to sit right about here. And I'm going to read some poetry. A prayer in spring. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away. As the uncertain harvest, keep us here, and simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night, and make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating around the perfect trees. And make us happy in the darting bird, that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrusts in the needle bill, and off a blossom in midair stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, for which is reserved for God above, to sanctify far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. I like that. I mean, there's a lot of ways of reading this, but, surface level, you get that, we steal love. Love is ours. I left you in the morning, and in the morning glow, you walked away beside me to make me sad to go. Do you know me in the gloaming, gaunt and dusty gray with roaming? Are you dumb because you know me not, or dumb because you know? All for me, and not a question for the flowers faded gay, that could take me from beside you for the ages of a day. They are yours, and be the measure of their worth for you to treasure, the measure of the little while that I've been long away. Billy Joe Armstrong wrote the song Wake Me Up When September Ends because his father died on September 1st. Rose pogonias. Not begonias, pogonias. I don't have that one. I don't have that one in this book. It's not out of copyright yet, but I'll do it here in a minute. A saturated meadow, sun-shaped and jewel small, a circle scarcely wider than the trees around were tall. When winds were quite excluded, and the air was stifling sweet, with the breath of many flowers, a temple of the heat. There we bowed us in the burning, as the sun's right worship is, to pick where none could miss them, 1,000 orchises. Orchises. 1,000 orchises. For though the grass was scattered, yet every second pier seemed tipped with wings of color that tingled the atmosphere. We raised a simple prayer before we left the spot, that in the general mowing the place might be for God, of all not so favored, obtain such grace of ours, that none should mow the grass there, while so confused with flowers. Alright, let me pull up a particular poem here. Oh, this is one which I do remember, but I don't know. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So gone, dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. S.E. Hinton picked a good one. That one still gets me a lot. All right. I want to thank you, those of you who are here. I'd hope to have something a little more useful for people tonight. But I think tonight I'm going to call it after about an hour here. I've got the next couple of days off. Maybe I'll do another one here once I've got a little bit more of my brain back together. So I guess what I want to say is this. The reason why we're going over the cultivating connection thing, the reason why we're talking about how to expand your friend group, how to reconnect with people that you haven't talked to in a long time, the reason why we're talking about that is because this is the healthiest thing to do, is to connect, is to talk, is to get through it. Spend some time with your friends, because there's one other thing to all this. We're not through this yet. I didn't know when I asked Keith about casting gold, and he said to me, I've cast more gold than this car you're driving, that would be the last thing I'd hear him say. Love your friends. They're not just there to support you, you're there to support them. And some of us, is going to help us survive, and some of us, there'll be a chance to say the things that we need to say when we can. Okay, so love each other.